What's the update on Chad?
With Chad, it's just, it's a neck injury, so obviously there's precautions that we need to take. But our expectation is that he shouldn't miss more than this game here coming up. He's been released. He's feeling much, much better. It's just a matter of now, just like with certain injuries like that, you got to go through a protocol, and you got to follow that protocol a little bit. And, we always err on the side of caution, but I fully expect to see Chad around next week.
Now missing your two regular starting center backs, how difficult of a task is that for you?
Evans has played a lot of minutes at center back, so has Zach Scott, so I'm not too worried.
Oh, is O'Neal Fisher?
O'Neal's got a little bit of a hamstring injury, so it's basically going to be a day-to-day, week-to-week type of thing.
Is Valdez doing all right?
Yeah, Valdez was fine. We just wanted him to train, and then we pulled him out. We didn't want him to, suffer a setback on the area. He felt fine today.
And with the Hall of Fame this weekend, does it feel appropriate at all that you and Casey are going in at the same time from what both of you have done for this club here?
Obviously, I think it's fantastic that it's two guys that are connected with the Sounders that are going in, and obviously Casey's extremely well connected with the state of Washington, having come from here, and so I think it's great, and I think it's great that U.S. Soccer allowed the ceremony to take place in Seattle because of that.
Just your general thoughts on LA coming to town with the kind of the star-studded lineup they have now.
Well, LA's got a good team, obviously, and it's going to be a great game. Always when we play against LA, it's a team where it's the kind of game where they're going to get chances and we're going to get chances, and it always comes down to which team can finish their chances better.
It seems at least partly due to injury, you could be having four original 2009 Sounders playing pretty key roles down the stretch. Did you see that kind of longevity in that original class in any sort of way?
You always hope for it. You always hope that there's guys that are going to be around and be able to play for you and play a long time. And obviously in 2009 they were a lot younger than they are now. So when you factor in, the years and the age, you figure, okay, if they're playing well, they can hang around that period of time. So, Ozzy and Evans and Zach, have, obviously done a lot of stuff.
In this league, how vital is it to have a core that you can build around to sort of stabilize things? It seems like that can sort of separate the good teams from the very good teams.
A core is always important. It's a core, but it's also the atmosphere in the locker room, the belief in what you're doing, and the belief in yourself. So, for me, I think having a core, and having strength down the middle of the field is the most important thing in building a team. And when you look at all good teams, I think that's what they have.
Beyond the names just on the back of the jersey, is there a common thread that runs from your first team to the team that you have now that you can identify any kind of trait or anything like that?
We've always been a team that likes to attack over the flanks. We've become more a team that, looks to get into the center now because of the personnel that we have. And I think the common thread, that runs through all our teams is we try and take advantage of our personnel. So when we had a player like Steve Zakawani, we wanted to get the ball out wide and then, wanted to get him isolated and allow him to do his thing. When we had a guy like Freddie Montero, eventually we had to find a forward who's going to stay up and pair well with him. That eventually happened with Eddie Johnson. So the thread that's there is, always trying to take advantage of the ability of the players that you have and make the best use of their talents.
Is it fair to say like a guy like Ozzy and guys like Brad that maybe do a little bit more of the behind-the-scenes work give you the freedom to be able to do that and focus on some of these different guys?
Yeah, obviously you need guys who are going to do the bread and butter dirty work, and Ozzy's done a lot of that for us over the years. Brad certainly does that. We've played him in different places, different positions. Other players that we've had here, whether it's been a Zach Scott, Leo Gonzalez has been that kind of a left back for us, has been very workmanlike and has been able to take care of business. So I think that's something that we've always had. We've had different hard-working players that have basically filtered in at different times.
Casey talked a little bit about all the people coming to the USSF celebration on Saturday from his past. How many generations are you going back? How many decades for people coming up here?
Well, I don't know. Obviously there's some people coming up from way back. I know there's a couple of guys coming up that we started playing soccer together when we were 11. You know, that's sort of an interesting story. And I know, I guess he was my first out of Southern California recruit, and he played on the first team I head coached at UCLA, and he somehow figured out a way to get like 14 or 15 of that first team all up here, flying in from all parts of the country. So, you know, it's going to be exciting. Some of those guys I haven't seen in a long time. You know, there's guys who certainly want to set the record straight on some stories that have circulated about them over the years. But it's you know, it's an exciting time. You know, family and friends and you know, people that you can share this with.
And who is introducing you?
Did he say who was introducing him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. So, all right. Didn't know if he let the cat out back. Now I can let the cat. The guy's going to introduce me as Dean Wurzburger. You know, so Dean and I go way back. We played against each other when he was at San Diego State. I was at UCLA. We went to coaching schools together. He was my assistant coach at UCLA. He's a longtime coach up here at the University of Washington. You know, we've just had a lot of interaction. You know, and you know, actually my nickname for him is MacGyver, because he was the best roommate in the world when we went to U.S. soccer schools. Because you know, if a button fell off your shirt, he had a sewing kit to put on the button. He'd make tea for you every morning and have his glass of Chardonnay in the evening. So, and he brought it all. You know, sat there and he brought a cup for me, he brought an extra glass for me, so it was great. I thought he was a fantastic roommate.
Going back to LA, Coach, they've been a difficult team to face this year. Do you approach them differently in this third and final meeting?
Well, I think the second game, you know, obviously we played with a much different lineup, and I think when you look at the first game, you know, we weren't 100% either, but you look at that first game, we had some chances in that game that if we finish those chances, you know, that result goes a lot different. But, you know, every game is a new experience, every game is a new adventure, and, you know, we're not worried about past games as we play LA this time.
Having Clint and Oba available for this time around, how does that open things up for you guys?
Well, it certainly helps us. I mean, obviously those guys are dangerous players. It means their center back's got to be focused on that, so that allows a little bit of space for the wide players as well. And, you know, the main thing is with LA, you got to force them to defend a little bit, you know, because they're a team that likes to leave guys high, and they hope to get away with defending with smaller numbers and catch you on the counter. And so the better we can hold on to the ball, the better we can make them, or the more we can make them defend, the better it is for us.
You mentioned not worrying about past games, but is that difficult at all for your team ever not to let LA get in their heads and see them not just as a challenge but a roadblock?
No, I think when you look at the whole series in LA, you know, with LA, I mean, there's been a couple of games that we won by big scores as well. You know, so it just happens. You know, obviously we know that they're a rival, and we know that they're a team for us to achieve our goals that we have to go through, and I think they know that we're a team that they need to go through as well.